I'm in open G tuning, D, G, D, G, B, D. If you don't know that, if you're not familiar with it, it's a great tuning to explore not just the blues, but all kinds of stuff. You know, Keith Richards uses it in a really effective way, although he loses that low E string, which is another conversation. But I wanted to give an extended lesson. I've been showing some really, really simple, basic moves with slide. And, you know, it helps to be in an open tuning, whether it's open G or E or D or whatever it is. It helps because it's a full sound and it's one that I find it easier to manage the slide. And if you're playing a song, you know, like maybe just singing and playing, it adds a nice accompaniment component to it, I think. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Like, if you get a little Travis picking, you might know that. If you don't know it, hit me up at jimmydillon.com. I do lots of courses on it, and some of them are even free. But I'm always glad when people show up on my website and try different stuff, because I don't know, I like passing on my knowledge, whatever knowledge I have, just from experience. But this one, if we just do a simple, starting on the A string, down, down, up, up, down. So A string, D string down with a thumb. I'm using my second finger picking up that B string, and then my first finger picking up the G string. Sorry. And then down on the D with the thumb. So in slow motion, it would sound like this. And if you can practice that and get really comfortable with it, even if you're just sitting around watching TV or whatever, you got it in G tuning, and just utilize those four strings. You can get a lot of mileage out of that. And if you get comfortable with it, where it just sort of rolls, it's sort of like muscle memory. After a while, it's a handy thing to do, because like if you're doing like a Taj song, Taj Mahal or Kebmo or any of that style, and you're singing or playing harp or whatever, yeah. Woke up this morning, trouble all on my mind. Or it could be any number of, like folk songs or whatever, So I just thought I'd share that with you, because I'm going to show you a couple slide moves and some non-slide moves that go along with this. But what I opened this up with, I just did a simple 1-4-1-5-4-1. What does that mean? That means an open G to a C chord, which is the 5th fret. And don't forget, when you're playing a slide, you don't play between the frets like you did with your finger style. You play over the 5th fret. Otherwise, it's going to sound like this. You got to pull it up. That's just the rule with sliding. If you don't know, you will soon. And again, I've got a bunch of courses on my website. So what I'm going to do right now is walk you through simply 1-4-1-5-4-1. That's basically G, C, G, D, C, G. Now you'll recognize this, if you don't already, as a straight up blues form, but it happens in a lot of different songs, okay? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you that basic, that rolling Travis picking thing. And I do it a million different ways. So don't worry about it if you don't get it perfect every time. The main thing is to get it to bounce and kind of get a groove going. Now I'm going to go to the C chord. So that's the 5th fret, right? Now you may notice that if you're not muting correctly, and that's a whole other subject, believe me, the dampening and the muting on slide guitar is important. In this case, I'm basically lightly following my slide up with my first and second finger and barely touching the strings. So we want to still stay free to move up and down. But in this particular instance, I'm just lightly touching the strings with this, and this is a bit of a nuanced thing, I understand, if you're new to slide, but it's important to mention anyway. And like I said, I go way deeper. I do deep dive stuff into it at my site, but be aware, because if you don't, it's going to sound like this. So you know, they rattle and they're weird. Slide's such a, you know, such a particular thing. But I've been doing it since I was a young guy, so I'm pretty comfortable with it. So once again, back, we had an open G, just rolling along, right? Now we're going to go to our C chord, which is the 4, the 5th fret, and then back to the open G. And now I'm going to go to the D chord, which is the 5 of this progression. And the great part about the good news is you can use the low D string. It's a low E string, but we're tuned to D, right? Because remember I said D, G, D, G, B, D. That's the open G tuning, or some people call it slack key or whatever. Sebastopol tuning, I think Piedmont tuning, I forget. But that being said, enough with a history lesson. Let's go to the 5 chord, shall we? So we're going to hit that low D note, which this is really great because you can mark that 5 chord by hitting that low D, and then slide up, leisurely slide to that 7th fret. Nice, huh? So it's got a nice full sound. And then let's go down 2 frets, again to our 4 chord, which is the C. Now this time you can't let the D ring out, sorry. You could, but it doesn't sound that great. So let's just go ahead and bar the whole kit and caboodle. And there's your 4 chord. And then now, of course, you're back to open G. Now, you'll notice when I hit that open G chord, my target note, I usually talk to you guys about target notes, which in this case is a root note. It's not always, but it mostly is. If you listen to guys like Mark Knopfler, who's one of my favorite, he talks a lot about getting that thumb going. I just noticed watching a Mark Knopfler video, I think he was talking about alternating between the low strings, you know. But dig how cool this is to do in G tuning. I'm not even doing anything. I'm not even playing with my left hand. And you're still getting a... That's one of the advantages of open tuning in general, but especially this open G tuning, because, you know, you got the G and the D, and that's a 1-5, right? That's like that country thing, right? Or country blues, you know, if it's Taj. So knowing that, to extend what I've already showed you, which is just the slow motion, and then slide, and then again utilizing that G note as your target note. Now I'm going to change. I'm going to go to that low E string and hit that low D note, and that's my target note for the 5. Kind of nice, big and full. And now we got to go back to that A string as our target note, because that's a C note. That's the root of the 4. And then to your open G. So hopefully that's not too crazy for you. I know the slide thing is very it's kind of elusive, you know, because it's so much about the touch of the strings, and in a way it's counterintuitive, you know, being that you have to play over the fret and you have to float the slide on top of the string, so it's not like fretting where you just, which is fine. So it does take quite a bit of getting used to, but if you like slide guitar, I love it personally. I think slide guitar in a way is similar to the human voice. I listened to Derek Trucks the other day, and it's actually, I think it was a critique from John Mayer and Derek Trucks were sitting and playing, and John Mayer's like totally blown away by Derek's slide playing with all his Indian scale and everything. And he said, you know, the way Derek plays slide, and a lot of this comes from Duane Allman for sure, but Derek's got his own thing. It sounds like almost like an R&B or a blues singer singing, the way he emotes, you know, that. So to me, slide, the attraction to slide was always, it sounds like a little bit like the human voice, because it's not limited to frets, so you can. It's just really, to me, it's really expressive. So I hope that's a simple enough lesson that could get you started anyway on slide 101, I guess you'd call it. But if you do like slide guitar, especially acoustic, because electric is a whole other conversation. I do a lot of that too, but I like the acoustic guitar. I've got a National here who's getting a little jealous, so I guess I'll give you a taste of her. So this is Stacy, my National. Now this you're probably familiar with. What do I got here? Now this one I've got in C tuning, which is like G tuning. And then I took my E string and I went all the way down to C. Now this I'll leave you with because otherwise we're going to get too crazy. But if you do that tuning, which is nothing more than G tuning, and instead of a low D, you got a low C, you go down one more. This allows you to do what we did in the D chord, that turnaround, on your C chord, which looks like this. Pretty cool, huh? It's just an A minor 7th shape. So you got a 2 on the D string and a 1 on the B string. That's it. But when you hit that low C, isn't that great? And the one last bonus is if you're hitting a 4 chord and you're in C tuning, in this case G with a drop C, you can hit that 4 chord and hit your low string. And you're cheating a little. You get that same thing we got on the D on the other one because I had a D note. So pretty cool. This thing's picking up the vibrations. So anyway, I'll play you out. Let me turn this thing. I've got reverb on my Yamaha over there. It just makes it sound pretty cool. So I'm going to leave you out with a little picking thing on my National. And if you like slide guitar, hit me up. And any questions are welcome. Okay, so there's our G tuning travel log. I know that was a lot of information, but I hope I took it slow enough because my goal here with you guys, with everybody, guys, gals, everybody out there, I hope I remember to slow things down enough and make it easily accessible to you, because my goal here is to increase your fun factor on guitar, you know, to shine a light on whatever it is we're doing, whether it's rhythm or you know, ripping leads, which, you know, I do some of, but I mostly get into the simpler stuff because I think most people just want to play good songs and accompany other guitarists. You know, that's what I like to do anyway. So I'm not so much about arpeggios, and I like them. There's a place for all that, but I really like the entire package of guitar, playing interior melodies and all that within the context of rhythm. So to me, that's what makes it fun, and all the connective tissue in between. So that's a long lesson, but I hope you can stay with me on that. And if you hear something you like, just back it up and rewatch it again. And again, hit me up, and I'll see you down the road.